I restarted all of the things before we thought about the downgrade, so I was like, doesn't work. There's no one here. Because every time what happened to the ground people are. No, they're coming. I just saw her face pop up, so give me a second to get back to school. Yeah. I see Gail and Marisol. I'm not sure. You was set up for this. Is that good for everybody? Yeah. You should play those 3 times. Make sure you use your microphones, everyone. Okay. Make sure your green light is on if you need it. Otherwise, mute yourself so we don't ring. And then whenever you're good.
So I just turn it on when the music's on.
Yeah.
And off the rest.
Okay, what's happening? Hello, everyone. It is October 29th at 4:31. We're calling the Conservation Committee meeting to order. All in favor? Oh, I am Taryn McGregor.
Susan Gibbons.
Carlos Salinas. John Howe.
Okay, so we have students from Brown University that are going to give us a little presentation, and the floor is yours.
I guess I'll go first. My name is Joseph Ekbe. I'm currently a junior at Brown University studying environmental science, and I'm glad to be here.
Hi, everyone.
Thanks for coming.
Is Galit Ringach. I am a senior at Brown University. Also very excited to be here and talk with you all.
Hey, I'm Carmen. I'm also a junior at Brown University, and I'm studying environmental science and public policy.
Hello, my name is Marisol. I'm a first year at Brown University, and I'm really excited to be here as well.
Really glad to have you all here with us. Could you just tell us a little bit about maybe the introduction to your talk on wastewater management? Is that what it is? Yeah, wastewater management. We're excited to hear what you have learned and have gathered to share with us.
Yeah, of course. So what we've been assigned to, we wanted to really put more emphasis on community outreach with the wastewater management. And so what we have done throughout the past couple of weeks is we've gone on to different websites as well as seen other Rhode Island conservational efforts and see how they have connected with local community members in order to raise awareness of different, different environmental, for lack of a better word, environmental bad things that have happened in the Rhode Island community. And so we plan on having conservational awareness by setting up town meetings in the city of Providence, as well as using surveys, whether it be a Google survey or other forms, as well as trying to gather data and information from other websites in order to culminate something that will be presented to the public that could maybe raise more awareness on wastewater management, just because we feel like it's a severe lack of, I guess, concern by other portions of the environmental movement when it comes to wastewater management.
Just hopping on this, I know maybe we should introduce a little bit about the fact we're in a class right now called Humans, Nature, and the Environment, and we are working with the New Shoreham Wastewater Management Committee, and they told us to speak with you guys as a project in which they noticed that.
Sorry, I'm going to interrupt you for a second. We missed part of that because Zoom cut out on our end.
Oh, no worries. Should I restart from the top?
That'd be
Yes,
great
please.
if you don't mind.
Yeah, no worries. So I just wanted to introduce a little bit more about the project in which we're doing. We are in a class at Brown University, which is within the Environmental Studies Department. And we are in collaboration with the New Shoreham Wastewater Management group, and they told us that to work on a project surrounding wastewater outreach programs, since they believe that the outreach needs to be worked on a little bit, that the community needs to know more about wastewater management. And so we, as Joe talked a little bit about, we have been working on different ideas of how to approach this, what creating like action plans, things like that to present to you all. And we wanted to learn more about if or past wastewater or outreach programs that you guys have come up with, or if you have implemented any, if there hasn't been any implementation of those programs, and how come, as well as different projects that you would want us to work on, as well as what to include in the action plan. That way we are not just presenting you with information that you already know. And so we would like to have a better guide of where to put our efforts and our time and energy to best help the commission.
Okay, quick question, is that okay?
Yes,
Yep.
please.
So when you're talking about outreach, are you thinking mostly about people who don't know the right thing to do in terms of wastewater management on their projects or on their homes? Or are you talking about failed septic systems that need addressing? Just, or on a town level, are about whether the town requirements and rules are enough to support wastewater management on Block Island? It's just not, it's not a criticism at all. It's just not clear to me yet what the goal is. Are we reaching individuals or are we reaching policy?
Guess I can answer this. More we're reaching a broad area with like the town specifically, and whether that involves people who have been disenfranchised, as well as people who maybe the wastewater management has like problems haven't affected them as much. I think it'd be still I think we agree that it'd still be a good idea to sort of give them bring awareness to the situation as well. So as far as you asked what influence we want on this, I feel it's mainly the main city of Providence.
Well, in past years, many municipalities had cesspools, and we've pretty much done away with that kind of thing here on Block Island. I mean, if you have a house on Block Island and you're on your own septic system, it has to be up to a certain spec. So I don't know if that really applies to us. Well, you're not dealing with municipal sewage systems. You're dealing with individual private sewage systems.
Carmen or Marisol, would you want to?
Yes, I think there might have been a little bit of misunderstanding. We're actually trying to reach individuals regarding wastewater management within New Shoreham itself. So not necessarily Providence. We've more so just done kind of like case study analysis within Providence and other New England cities, which might have been worth a mix up with that. But more than anything, I think we're just trying to like have individuals be more involved within like discussions surrounding wastewater management and to make sure that they're not negatively impacted by possible pollutants within it, especially considering that there have been like instances in the past where it has occurred. So we want to make sure that we're bringing that like level of awareness to them and giving them like ways to be able to express like their concerns and ideas for wastewater management in New Shoreham specifically.
I'm wondering if things like garden fertilizers and topical applications and like potentially what the implications are of like leach fields, because everyone has a leach field out here. So I didn't know if that worked into the wastewater management along with topical applications of lawn fertilizer and or garden fertilizer, because we definitely do struggle with awareness in that regard, with the noxious chemicals and stuff like that. So just wanted to hear your perspective on that type of edge on wastewater management. It's not necessarily sewage, but it is a problem.
Yeah, I think so. Just like using any kind of outlet, whether that's like social media or having like a table or a booth set up at any sort of local festival that you guys are having or something like that, just to get the members of the community educated in the first place. That's like a great issue that you guys could start like sort of trying to reach out to the community to let them know that that's an issue and sort of give them ways to sort of help mitigate that.
So are you offering support or suggestions to create community outreach programs like that? I agree with Taryn that that fertilizer and that sort of stuff used outdoors is a significant education opportunity out here, as well as especially one from the rental community in the summer, the types of things that are put into a septic system, like the quote unquote flushable wipes and things like that, that people, you know, none of that stuff is ever flushable, regardless of what it says on the outside of that package. And it is, when we get our septic systems pumped out here, a significant concern. So that's another thing that, you know, we could be, or somebody could be reaching out to, especially, I feel like our year-round community has, as John said, very good awareness of the way a septic system works and the way a septic system needs to be treated. The summer community, not quite so much, certainly not all of them. And so they might be good people to create an education program for, so that we don't just tell them not to flush the wipes, but we tell them why.
Yeah. No, I think that's a fantastic idea. One of the main reasons why we wanted to join this meeting today, which thank you again for making the time to meet with us, was to understand, again, as we don't live in Block Island or in New Shoreham, therefore don't have the experiences to really know what would be most useful. We did understand from our conversations with New Shoreham wastewater management that there is a huge swell in the amount of people who are actually like living on Block Island during the summer, as you just touched upon, whom I assume, just as you said, don't really understand the system as well as the people who live there year round. I do think that would be a fantastic opportunity for us to touch upon and use different outreach programs that have been successful, maybe focus on other areas who also have like tourist influxes in the summer, who have had to create similar programs and similar outreach opportunities, and see how that has worked out for them. Would that be like, would you want us to fully create like a pamphlet or a flyer or an information?
Absolutely. I think that would be really valuable. I think a pamphlet or something like that for the year-round community wouldn't get as much support, because I think you're going to get people saying, yeah, we know. We live, this is how we live like this. It's really important to us. But that summer community is very different and could definitely benefit from something that could be left in rental houses. You know, we leave information behind for renters. They could read information like that. You know, who knows if they pay attention, but it couldn't hurt them
Right.
to learn.
And just to understand a bit better as well, the demographics of the people who come in during the summer, what would you say the age range is as well, or where they're coming from?
I think it's pretty wide. There are a lot of families with children. There are, you know, I mean, the age range is anywhere from families with infants right up through older people, especially in the off season, I think is when we see more older people on vacation, avoiding the craziness of the summer.
So also though, we have a lot of New Yorkers and from Connecticut. Okay, I think our primary renters.
A lot of New England
Okay.
states.
Yeah. Yeah, this is great to know. Just to think about also how do we really conduct the outreach and the marketing as well. Like how do we best, like if it is a large age range, not everyone's going to be necessarily attracted or interested in the flyers as well. So trying to see other avenues to gauge interest in the information we're trying to spread.
I think I would just think about the adult population in
Okay.
general. And I think a lot of our summer visitors are coming out of communities with full sewer systems, and a lot of them have no idea how a septic system would differ from the sewer system they're hooked up to at home. So you know, some differences, some understanding of why it matters. You know, like we rent our house, and it's carefully restricted to total number of people. And I've had renters tell me in the past, well, we don't mind sleeping on the floor. And one of my answers is, well, my septic system minds how many people are in this house. And it's not that they're trying to do it wrong. It's just that they 100% don't understand.
But Sue, the other avenue to reach these people is through the realtors.
Sure. But not all houses are rented by realtors.
Yeah.
So pamphlets and things would be helpful, I think. Might be.
I guess I have a question about how you're thinking about getting a better understanding of the demographics, the patterns of interaction with the island. Because that's, you know, the question of strategy is going to hinge on that. If you make a flyer or a beautiful infographic, you have to figure out how do you get people actually pay attention to it and not just put it in the circular file. So I'm interested in sort of what you may have thought already about how do you get a handle on the demographics and patterns of interaction?
Yeah, so we conducted a couple of case study research. For one of them, it was Think Blue, Massachusetts, which was able to kind of bring awareness to their stormwater coalitions, which isn't exactly you know, like regarding septic systems and wastewater management, but they were able to successfully campaign just by having like yearly educational outreaches and making that a requirement within the campaign. So I don't know if that's something that you guys would deem feasible or something that we can consider, but they also listed a couple of public education methods, and they found that like the most effective one is just through social media engagement and social marketing. And I was wondering if you guys have like a rough idea of like how people hear about the Block Island. Is it through social media? Is there any social media platforms that you guys use, or that you deem like popular with crowds that come in during the summertime that we can also kind of use? Like an example that they did bring up, which might be like a really big one, but it's just kind of once again just bringing examples of how they were able to implement these like environmental outreach campaigns was through like, you know, Smokey the Bear. Everyone knows about it. Obviously maybe it's not going to be to that level, but if we can have something that would like, you know, bring awareness and it's iconic, I wonder if that would be like helpful in any way, or if you guys would maybe suggest something else considering the demographics.
Well, there's a Block Island Facebook page that might be helpful.
There are multiple Block Island Facebook pages. There's the Tourism Council, the Chamber of Commerce. I think the town has a social media.
There's the Block
presence.
Island app through the Chamber of Commerce.
Yep,
too.
the
That
Block
might
Island
be
app,
something.
which is through the Chamber of Commerce as well.
Um,
And
oh,
very, like the Nature Conservancy, they also have social media presence as
They
well.
do, yep. They have an online presence.
sorry, I was gonna interject. Another public outreach that we could possibly consider. This was a case study I read from actually from outside of the state, Burlington, Vermont, where they conducted sort of like a webinar, interactive webinar that could be posted, which I guess could tie into so the social media hemisphere. And I was wondering how effective that would be.
I think if you're, frankly, I think if you're trying to reach the summer visitor population as opposed to people who are here all the time, I don't think they're likely to tune into a webinar about wastewater use on their vacation. You know, perhaps they should, but I don't think that they will. So I think you'd be better off reaching that. I like the idea of social media in general. But I think you might need a real elevator bullet list of the basic things people need to understand about wastewater on Block Island. That is simple, it's short, it's immediate. It just explains to them what they shouldn't flush and what they shouldn't pour in the driveway.
I also think that it could be helpful to reach out to the Block Island Times because I think that they have social media, but if they were just to post like once a week on, you know, our community bulletin or post in their, you know, articles online or in print, in regards to like a little check-in about what is appropriate to put in for positive wastewater management versus negative wastewater management, that could be helpful for people to absorb because they're kind of already looking in those places. But I'm not sure a webinar would really jive with that crowd. Although I commend your efforts in doing that in any other community, but like I can't imagine that these people who are spending thousands of dollars are gonna watch a video on wastewater management, even though that would be really nice for them to do, but yeah.
Well, put the video on the boat.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
There's-
you could
there's
put a
advertising
flyer,
on Block Island.
flyer advertisement or something
Block Island
on the Block
Ferry.
Island Ferry. I was thinking.
Well, there is, as a matter of fact, that's not as funny as it sounds, because as John points out, there is a short video that plays on the ferry
Yeah.
on the way over here that introduces people to some basics about Block Island. So,
And if it was like catchy, if there was like a
was
catchy,
catchy,
if
they
there was,
might
like,
hear
a
it,
catchy
yeah.
slogan that like said, if you do this, then you'll get that or something that's some, like people remember things like that. And if they're on the ferry, you know, it is a quick, you know,
that's a soundbite.
you're gonna get their
Like-
attention.
Like
so.
never put your bananas in the refrigerator.
Something, right? Something catchy might get them there. Yep.
And we also had the idea of if there were like possible like some kind of like community fair or like any sort of fair that I don't like just has like different things in it. We could possibly maybe attend those and sort of raise awareness through previously mentioned like pamphlets as well.
Yeah, I love that
Farmers
idea.
market.
There's like, not only is there a farmer's market every week that has a lot of, you know, earth-centered humans that attend that would definitely benefit from listening to someone's information such as yourself, but there is like a Earth Day fair that has gone on for at least the last 3 springs that they put on at the Harbor Church, which is always really lively and fun. And so that's probably like the last weekend of April. And then there's Concert Fest, which is technically like a music festival, but the donations and proceeds go largely to the Conservancy, the Nature Conservancy out here. So that would be another opportunity to kind of get in the door. But yeah, the Earth Day Fair is like there's all sorts of different kind of vendors that are all promoting their different lens of environmental management. So I think that could be a really good start. And
Yeah.
then maybe supplementing in a few farmers markets because people wanna talk about stuff like this. They just,
Yep.
it would be a really nice talking point to offer.
Yep, Block Island Conservancy already maintains a table at the farmer's market twice a week in the summer. And they've been heavily marketing their kitchen composting program, but I can't speak for them, but I would strongly suspect they would allow people like you to sit at the table and see if you could engage people on this subject as well. I'm sure they would. We can't speak for them, but I bet they would.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about maybe potential next steps, especially what would be logistically and also realistically possible to do. We have to turn in or like have a white paper document or something similar to that. I know the video sounds like a great idea, especially if this is a transition, going on the ferry and going to Block Island. And it's a time when people might be a little bit bored enough to listen to us talk about wastewater management, at least a little bit. So I think that's a fantastic idea, as well as then coming up with a flyer or something that people could potentially take with them or see as a poster. For making the video, I'm unsure if we'll actually or have the capacity or even the skills to create something like that, but I do think we could potentially find, again, do some case studies on other efforts, on potentially other information that similar programs have done, again, that have been successful, and like create a document compiling that, which might work as a potential plan for you to take and move forward with. And so just trying to, we have to do that in the next few weeks. At least that's how our timing is working out with this project. So again, I think we could turn in that all that information compiled neatly and clearly to you all, also with like steps of like how long this could potentially take if you were to take steps using the information to make such a video for the ferry, and looking into that. Just again, I want to double check with you all if that seems.
Just a suggestion along that vein, I would suggest a phone interview with the realtors. Be easy to do from your end. Call the realtors and ask them what they're telling renters today, because I don't know anymore. Okay. I don't have the contact with the realtors that I used to have, but I think if you found out what they're telling renters, number one, it would give you an idea what the gaps are.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. We'll definitely do that.
Good idea.
Thank you.
Just one more question on what you're actually doing with the town. Like, what are your discussions about with them and how they are overwhelmed in the summertime too? The town water is awful in the summertime. It's when you drive up Spring Street, it's just, you all know that it smells like terrible. So just curious what, their thoughts are too. Have you had discussions?
Sorry, so the question would be what their thoughts are on what specifically?
Well, with the town water, which is, most people have their own private
Wells.
wells, right? But the town is, now providing for more and more space all the way to New Harbor from town. And it just seems like the wastewater is being overwhelmed.
Yeah, they're drilling a new well right now, okay, in order to provide enough water.
It's not the same program. That's
That's-
the water company,
Yeah,
not
okay.
the sewer
It's
company.
not wastewater, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Understood.
I appreciate the
Yeah.
thought, but wrong
Yeah.
company.
But if Mario has a good point, you might want to talk to the people at the Block Island Sewer Department also.
Yeah.
Because that's, some of an increasing amount of of town is connected to I guess it's a municipal sewer system. And that system is also under substantial stress in the summer. So it could be useful for you as a group to talk to the people at the Block Island Sewer Company as well and see where their concerns lie and whether the two things could be kind of combined.
Yeah, we will definitely do that. I think that's
Right, because most of the big hotels are connected to the municipal sewer. And certainly in the hotels is where I'm sure you have huge bathroom issues. Okay.
right.
When I first started thinking about this, I thought of what we do with our treated sewage also,
Mhm.
and it goes right out close to Ballard's Beach.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, and it's always been a concern of mine.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't.
It's treated though. I mean, that is.
All the solids are.
Okay, yeah,
have been-
Oh, yeah, oh,
Yeah.
It's only the leftover water that goes in the ocean.
right.
So back on topic, they are gonna have a potential document for us to see in you would say about a couple weeks or a couple months? What is your time frame? I know you said you need to have it in.
I think you could start immediately with telephone calls to the realtors, and they'd be happy to provide you with what information that they're telling people today.
I have a question. Throughout y'all's years in the board, have there been any significant like community outreach involving wastewater management that have previously been like somewhat successful? And if so, could you like tell us or give us a basic rundown of what exactly how they were able to reach local community members?
And are you asking about programs that have already been done out here? Yes.
Yes.
I don't think we've had there's no formal like education or outreach program that I know of, but there are requirements. And the people who own property on Block Island and have septic systems are required to have those systems inspected and pumped on a regular basis. So there is outreach in that sense to make sure people's septic systems are not overwhelmed and failing. And there was a huge effort in the last 20 years, it might be longer now. The older I get, the longer it seems like it was 10 years ago and it's probably 20 years ago. But everybody's septic system was upgraded out here, from the old cesspool or old minimalist septic designs to something much more effective. So we did have a huge, I guess you could call that an outreach program. We had a huge program where all of the septic systems on Block Island that needed upgrading were upgraded.
Who in town hall could they talk to about that?
I don't know who was
Wayne,
Dwayne, right? Wayne, yes. Yeah, Wayne Pinkham, right?
Yes.
Yes.
You guys have been emailing myself. It's Amanda in the office. I can get you in touch with Wayne if that's something you want.
Yeah, I bet he'd have good information.
That would be great. Thank you.
Everyone's really complete.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna answer the question real quick about the timeline. I'm pretty sure we will have something within 2 to 3 weeks. Correct me if I'm wrong, anyone on the team, but yeah.
Yeah, I would say probably 2 weeks. We could get that done just because of the sort of time crunch regarding our project.
Great.
Cool. Well,
Um,
thank you all so much for sharing your knowledge and inquiries, and the work that you're doing is really important. So we really appreciate you taking the time out of your night and sharing it with us here.
Thank you so much for having us here. It was
Thank you.
really
Thank
great
you.
chat. We learned a ton. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much.
All right, take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
There they go.
Okay.
That was Brown University, huh? Huh.
Sorry?
So we're going to move to item number 3.
Mhm.
Discuss and act, Department of Environmental Management. Discuss and act on application for permission to alter freshwater wetlands for a proposed project at Assessor's Plot 8, Lot 177, New Shoreham, application by John R. Leone, DM application number 24-0030. The purpose of the proposed project is for the construction of a new 4-bedroom, single-family dwelling along with ancillary features. Application dated September 17th, 2024. The notice period is 45 days to offer comments to the DEM.
Well, I walked the property today and the site for the house has got to be 15 or 20 feet higher than the portion down next to Mohegan Trail. So I think it's properly positioned in that regard. My only question looking at the map is where they're putting the well in relation to the septic. But I'm sure that they've already worked that out with the engineers.
Right. But I have, I see where the building envelope is here and the house does, I was unfamiliar with this property a little bit too. We looked at it actually years ago and frankly, we're scared off by the wetland. In terms of the building opportunities there.
Yeah. It's very dry this year.
Yeah, it'll be dry right now, but that wetland is, so there's a lot of wetland on this property. And what I am concerned about seeing the application is that I did the math actually, and if you look at the DEM notice, there are it's alteration or disturbance of 17,875 square feet, which is almost half an acre, 0.41 acres.
Mhm.
And the lot is under 2 acres. If you do the math, it's almost 22% of the lot
Yeah.
that they're looking to alter, that they're degrading into the wetland with. So my initial big question is when this parcel was purchased, which is 2022, I think, by Mr. Leone, what did the building envelope look like? I couldn't find it. I came down to the town hall to in hopes of finding that in the real estate transaction, because sometimes that building envelope is spelled out, but I didn't find it. So, and this is my first meeting, so please shut me down if it's not appropriate, but keep going. But my big question is what did the Leones know about what the building envelope is on this property when they bought it compared to how much wetland alteration they're asking for now? And is all of that alteration necessary? If all of this alteration is necessary to build on the property, then it hardly seems buildable. And was that obvious when it was purchased? If that makes a big difference to how I feel about altering wetland.
And if it is true that, which it seems as though it is, since based off of your math, that almost half an acre is going to be altered or destroyed in some way, then what does that make the setback to the wetlands? Like, what is the relationship to that disturbance going to be through the wetland? Because that also needs to be considered in regards to management of, the coastal features.
Absolutely. And that's in this notice that I think we got with this. I have a copy of it here if you want to see it, but it does say that the freshwater wetlands affected include at least the 75-foot buffer zone of a shrub swamp, the 100-foot buffer zone of a vernal pool, and that the project as proposed, that they're proposing at least, and this is pretty standard, but filling, grading, clearing, excavation, and other construction-related disturbances within the buffer zones. And then all of that adds up to a disturbance, not on the whole property, but the 17,875 square feet of vegetated buffer within the buffer zones. So I think the big question is it necessary for that much disturbance to happen in order to build on this lot?
And also,
And if it's not, they should try to back it up.
Sue, if you go to the lot, a lot of it has been cleared already.
But, well, and there's a good point there, because last year, I found this on DEM today too, they received a violation last year for the clearing and the driveway work.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the fact that it's already cleared is, isn't necessarily a good.
What's cleared is basically they've cleared.
Yeah.
They've cleared the driveway up to the high point where the.
Yeah, and they got dinged by DEM for that.
Yeah. So my guess is that they're not gonna touch the wetlands that you see here. I mean, what you see on the map is probably, it's half of the plot that we're looking at, so. I imagine they've done most of their clearing already, but as you say, they got dinged for that.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, there's a notice of violation from DEM from the previous application. So.
Susan, you also had a really good point about the buildable land
Mhm.
feature, because if usually, wouldn't it be based off of the buildable land, not based off of the entire gross area?
Well, that's certainly how our property works. They're in residential A, so they have 3% lot coverage. And that would give them plenty of building envelope. With the 88,000 square feet of the lot, they have over 2,400 square feet of potential footprint, which is plenty. But that doesn't exclude the wetland. And usually, I think, I mean, I know that's what I have to do on our property. Usually they pull out the wetland in order to determine how much is buildable. So the 3% probably should not include the whole lot, because a lot of this lot is wet. So I'm not sure what their building envelope really is. That's what I think any board needs to know before any decisions are made about this.
So could we say that we would prefer to have a more defined?
I think we have to table it until we get the answer to Sue's question.
Well, that's what I mean. I think
Yeah,
that we need
I
a
think
more
so too.
defined building envelope in
You
relation
know, it's-
to what they actually,
just-
what is necessary to disturb in this
Just
lot.
to paraphrase what Sue said, okay, if our understanding is that they have to back up the wetlands, okay, then what percentage of the lot is actually being developed versus code?
Right, right.
We're on day 43 of the 45-day
They are
notice period.
really-
I was just about to bring that up.
We can't-
Are on day 43.
We can,
This is day 43.
we can write, because the goal is whatever you decide tonight, I will be writing up and having one of them signed tomorrow to get sent out. So
Yep.
if you decide to, that's fine. I need to know your reasons
Yeah.
why.
I could make it.
Right.
Well, this is just the advisory.
This is just, no, this is the advisory going to DEM. This is not even, it hasn't even hit planning and zoning yet.
Yes, okay. So
And
I,
I wonder too, if we can ask some further feedback. I think Sue's point about previous violation is really important, because if this is based on a violation, I'm totally not cool with it. I also want to know at what point is an environmental impact statement called for, given that there's wetlands and a vernal pool involved. I would also like to know what's applicable, both town, state and national law with regards to it, some kind of feedback from
We
DEM.
can only take the towns into consideration when it does come to us. The DEM is responsible for anything over that. But that's why it's to them right now. So they're looking for unfavorable or favorable based off of us in the town.
And also, the notice says that this went out to, all the interested individuals and agencies, but I know that at least one of the members of the Block Island Conservancy had not heard about this issue at all.
We
So,
got
I think
notification as an abutter.
That's really common, unfortunately.
We were notified because we're in a butter, so I can only speak to why we got it. So I can't vouch for why it didn't get to anybody else.
Amanda, one thing I tried to do today, and I backed off on it because the time is so tight.
Right.
Carlos is absolutely right. We have to respond. And if it's gonna go to DEM, it has to go out like express mail.
Yep.
Tomorrow, or they won't get it. But we could, if we make an unfavorable ruling now, and that's not a ruling, it's if we
Advisory.
advisory, and send that in the comment period, I think we could ask also for further information. And there probably are more DEM documents than we have. I started a request personally to get the DEM documents associated with this application sent to me, and then realized it's way too late for me to get them within the comment period. But I think if we can ask as the town for those documents, that we should. It'll take, they told me today it would take until at least November 6th for them to be available. And because there is a good question, has there been a wildlife study? Did somebody come in and study the impact of degrading this wetland already? And does DEM have that information? Because they might, because you don't get that information from them unless you ask for it.
Okay.
It might be sitting on Promenade Street.
So if you want to do for now, do an unfavorable advisory and give me the reasons why, I will have that written up and I will contact you two tomorrow to come in and sign once it's all written, and I will overnight it. The requesting documents I can do, I'll present them. I'm planning on keeping November's regular meeting. So I know that's only 2 weeks. I know it's short notice, but the goal is to keep that one. And hopefully it will. Right. The other part of this, and I don't know if it will change once whatever DEM decides, it still has not come to the town for planning or zoning or whatever is needed. So it will most likely come back again at another point in time. Just keep that in mind, pending whatever happens.
So do you want me to try to spell out the reasons for the negative ruling?
I feel like it's the implications of the violation might have caused to the degraded wetlands.
Yeah, okay, so I think the previous violation needs to be addressed. And then the question of lot coverage needs to be addressed, and we don't have that answer. And then whether or not there's been a wildlife and water study, water study done about the implications of this 17,800 square foot degradation. And those three things all add up to the fact that we don't have anywhere near enough information to make any kind of a positive advisory ruling on something like this. So we have to go negative, because there's no time left. Okay.
That you want to, yes.
So you can do it.
Okay, on item number 3, in regards to the application sent by John R. Leone, application number 24-0030. I'm going to make a motion that is unfavorable to move this application forward. All in favor? Oh, thank you.
Back to I then.
Yeah.
Aye.
All in favor?
So,
I am rating that we have an unfavorable advisory based off of implications of the previous violations from the DEM, the wetland, buildable coverage, lot coverage in regards to what's actually buildable or what isn't because of the wetlands. And then not sufficient information about whether an environmental, wildlife, water study has been done to support any of the processes on the lawn.
Yeah,
Okay.
perfect.
Anything else? I'm just making sure I have it all before we move.
I think those are the three major
Okay.
points.
And
If
then-
there's enough to back it up. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And then you want me to request from the DEM any supporting paperwork so that we can have it in,
Yeah, because
For
there may be a
future
wildlife
decisions.
study on board already, like there was with the Ambrose Swamp.
right,
We just don't have it.
Any history with that lot, if they have any history.
yep. Okay.
Thank
We'll move to item number 4, approval of the annual calendar for 2025.
And it's right here, right? Yeah.
I have one, date there, April 8th, that I'm gonna do it. Okay.
I think I'm also going to.
Oh, yeah, I can move that one by week.
That's-
Or,
Okay.
okay with that?
Yeah, I think that one we should.
I'm gonna be, well, take back and then
Yeah.
the following Tuesday after that, so it'd be maybe a week before. If that works.
Which one are you moving?
April 8th.
Yeah, okay.
maybe
Yeah.
the first.
I don't see anything I know I can't make here right now, but that doesn't mean it might not, that's a lot of dates.
I think April 1st would work, yeah.
Right, or we could do the 22nd because Maze is from.
I think that honestly later in the month might be better for me.
I just can't do the 15th.
Yeah, I feel like the 22nd sounds better.
We'll make April the 22nd.
April 22,
Around there,
okay,
I'll see
instead of
Sarah.
April 8. Okay.
And then David's still on July and August. Yeah.
Don't bring it up.
I could breathe in July at all.
We
Right?
just
Yeah.
made it up.
And everyone's okay with the 4:30 time?
Yes.
I have a question about July and August. What's your experience with how many CRMC applications or DEM notices come through during that time?
Not a lot.
None or anything.
Mhm.
Not, if they are, we will call a special meeting. We tried to this year, but unfortunately it didn't work. So if something comes up, we'll call a meeting, but otherwise we don't plan on it.
Okay, thank you.
And so, Now, I need.
Question also, maybe February 11th, I feel like. Could we move that to the first week of February?
That's the 4th.
The 4th of February? You want your different dates? Cause I don't know my.
Yeah, I can change that to whatever.
I feel like earlier would be better.
All right. And also just keep in mind, if nothing it comes through, we don't have to have a meeting for the sake of having a meeting. That's the other part. So I'm not against having meetings. I like seeing everybody, but if we don't have anything,
nothing to do,
we
right?
don't have to have a meeting. So just keep that in mind. So we'll plan on February on the 4th,
February 4th.
and then April the 22nd, and then everything else as is. Okay, so someone needs to make a motion, please.
I make a motion to accept the calendar as revised.
Wait, you need a second.
Oh, why do I always forget? Always forget.
Okay, now all in favor.
Aye.
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 The minutes, are we at the minutes? No, we're at Coastal Resiliency Committee, so I will speak on this one. I attended a Coastal Resiliency Committee meeting, and they did ask that we plan a future meeting with both boards just to touch base a lot of the same topics and want to make sure everyone's
Just the former,
sea level rise.
sea
Yes.
level.
I did speak with Judy Gray, and Laurel's their clerk, so we're gonna try to figure out a time that works best. I did ask Judy if we could have a meeting with our full board first. We have new members, Carlos and Sue are both new, and Fred and Dorothy aren't here, so I just wanted everybody to, on our board, be on the same page before we started putting in new things, if that's okay with you guys. But Laurel and I are looking at either December's or January's meeting to
Looking
do it
at what?
December or January. Yes.
I
If
feel
that,
like, I feel like December is fine.
Was that a date
January,
you
what
just
does it
threw
matter?
out? I missed. You're
The
looking
dates
at,
are for what?
either our December or January meeting to meet with Sea Level
okay,
Rise to
December or
have,
January.
or coastal resiliency, I'm sorry. They requested to meet with you, so I will have an agenda and be able to give it out, but they did request to meet with conservation, so I don't think it's a bad thing. But I don't have all the information yet, but they
I mean,
did.
I think it would be beneficial for everyone to be on the same page.
Yeah.
anyway, So,
So I don't think it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
I'm not sure all the details of what yet. So we figured we'd start with trying to find a good time where everyone can be in the
yeah,
same room.
I think it depends on what is on the agenda for December. If we have to get
Yeah.
some things done by the end of the year, then
Right.
we'll just move it to January. But
Right.
if there's room on the
But-
December agenda, then we can put it on that one.
So Laurel and I have been looking at, and that's where we're thinking.
Okay.
Is probably going to be the best time frame.
January?
Just either December or January.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, either or.
So I will still work with her on that. Minutes, we are going to have to table because there are not enough of you here that were present, if I'm not mistaken. So there's 3 of you present from the June meeting.
Oh,
And I mean, Carlos and Sue can read them, but they can't necessarily attest to them because they weren't here.
right. Okay, we can
If
table
that's
that.
okay with you guys,
Sure.
unless you feel comfortable reading and voting them. That's up to you too.
I feel comfortable.
I'm.
If you're okay with that, that's fine. We don't need to table.
Sure. I don't think anyone's gonna have a problem with that. Yeah.
Not everyone
You're
is
doing a great
comfortable, so
job.
I'm
You're
just,
doing a good job.
don't want to make you do anything you don't want
Yeah, I
to.
know. Who wants to do it? Yeah, we can do that. I second that. I do.
All in favor?
Aye. Moving on to number 7, discuss future agenda items. I think that we did just do that potentially.
Yep.
Okay, good.
Wait,
What?
Carlos.
future, I have 2 sets of questions about future agendas. One is, how is the agenda set? By whom and by when? And that'd be one block of questions. So
Let me start with those before you
Okay.
go. Let me start with that. So the agenda is set normally by the staff, so the zoning official and myself. And then it is always 2 weeks beforehand. This, it's not, it gets posted, it follows the rules for posting, but we try to have the agenda set 2 weeks beforehand.
I guess I'd have a question. Why is staff setting the agenda and not the commission members?
Because we're here, we get all the applications that come in. It's been the general procedure for all the boards. That's not just you. We get any applications that come in, we make all the copies, so if people bring things to us, if we question it, we email the chairs. That's what I get paid to do.
Okay, but it's not necessarily a rule of the commission that the staff sets the agenda.
As I can't answer if it's a set rule, but that's my understanding is that it goes through the zoning official, which is Jen.
Okay. Because I mean, one way to handle that would be to have, a standing item that would be, all the applications that come through. This block of time will be that, and that gets filled in. But yeah, I guess I'll revisit that in the future. In terms of future agenda items, I would like to see a discussion, maybe a more robust discussion of what is the purview of the commission. Reviewing ordinances, reviewing what other conservation commissions and other townships or municipalities in Rhode Island do. I even understand that we have a budget, we can hire experts. So I think it would be really useful to have I have someone provided me a really interesting overview of, looking at it from the town to state level. I think it would be really useful to have a conversation to start thinking about what could we be doing? Not just being sort of reactive and waiting for an application to arrive, but rather maybe looking a little bit more proactively to protect the
Very much
island.
so. Yep.
Love that idea.
Like we could plan the bridge on Cornet Road.
For instance.
That would have been helpful for me.
So that I can definitely put that on there. I'll just if I won't put it on November's meeting because that's not enough time for me to do research for you in regards to that. But I know that if I'll start pulling everything we can plan on one of the next meetings for that.
Ray has to say, okay, they spent a lot of time on that seawater level.
Yes.
Right.
study.
That should be an interesting meeting.
So
Yeah.
I think
Mhm.
that's gonna be
Yeah,
an
I agree.
interesting meeting.
We need to hear them. Yeah.
So do you want, for my planning purposes, do you want to have that meeting and before I start pulling things, or do you want me to pull our overview, then have that meeting and then start discussing it?
Would be good as just an informational session. you
Yeah,
know what I
just
mean?
Okay, that's totally fine. I just,
Have this sea level rise peeps, have your information about just it very.
I just didn't know if you
integrated.
want it on the same day is my question.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Okay, if you're okay with that,
could
that's
be
fine.
interesting. That could be really interesting.
Okay,
Yeah, then we can have a wider discussion.
That would be.
December or January, yes, based off of the meeting schedules.
Yeah, I like it.
Okay,
We think about it.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I second that.
right, awesome.
All in favor?
Hi,
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 thank you.
thank you all.
thank you, everybody. Thanks, Renee, for coming.